All right, we just got the stats for August. Prices are going down and they're going down pretty fast right now, depending on the product type that you have. So currently right now, we're sitting at 936,000. The most recent low of January 2023 was 934,000. I think in one of my last videos, like a week ago, I was saying that the prices were likely already below this low. As it turns out, I'm wrong, but I don't actually think that I'm wrong. And I'll tell you why. The data that you're looking at in August, right? A lot of those sales that sold in the first week, the second week, will be a higher price than the sales that sold in the back half of that month, right? And I don't know exactly how they collect this data to reflect that $936,000 price, but I would imagine that they're not just taking the lowest price home that sold on the last day of August and using that to represent every single sale that happened in August, right? They probably take the sales from each week and they somehow compile that, and the number that you get at the end of the month reflects sales that probably happened, somewhere in the middle of the month, because that would be the average of the sales in a market that's moving down, right? So I'm not 100% sure, but that would make more sense to me. So basically what I'm getting at here is that the prices are likely lower than this 936 because the sales that happened in the last week of the month were probably a lot less than the sales that happened at the start of the month, or maybe not a lot less, but probably more than $2,000 less, which in my opinion, when we get the September stats, you're probably going to see that we are finally below this low of January 2023. Not 100%, but that'd be my guess. Now we look at the sales to actives, 10% down from 12%. So months of inventory basically increased about 20%. Total inventory, again, coming down, super typical for the back half of the year going into fall. And then as you see, new listings, again, also going down. But you can see that this happens every single year. Nothing out of the ordinary. Getting into Detached. Detached came down about $15,000 on the HPI this month. Again, inventory coming down. So let's just look at the sales to actives. It's at 8%, and that's been coming down since June. That is a very weak market. 8% is you're firmly in a buyer's market. Going over to apartments now. Apartments came down about $5,000. They're still $19,000 above the December 2022 low, but from what I'm seeing, condo prices are falling faster than everything else at this current time. So it wouldn't surprise me by end of year if we were at these lows or possibly below them. And the sales to actives for condos went from about 13% in July all the way down to nearly 10%. So months of inventory increased about 30% in the month of August for condos. And what I'm seeing right now in the condo market, depending on what you have, but like the $600,000 two beds kind of thing, they're coming down like almost $5,000 a week from what I'm seeing. And I might be off on that depending on the area and what you have, but those two beds that are priced over $600K, those seem to be falling faster than the one beds now or anything else in the market really. Now, something I want to highlight is the first 2 days into September, we've had 600 units listed and only 114 sales. Now, this probably isn't going to hold for the rest of the month. Like, I highly doubt new listings are going to outpace sales 6-1. You probably just had a bunch of canceled listings that planned to relist on the 1st or 2nd of the month, and everybody came to market as soon as the month started, right? And, you look at this post from Steve Surrey that I talked about in a couple videos back. You can see home sellers in Canada are canceling listings at a rapid pace as they fail to get their prices. Many will retest the market in the months ahead. So probably what you're seeing is a bunch of these canceled listings that came off in the summer are now relisting in the fall. And this is what I was personally worried about. I had a conversation with one of my sellers a few days ago, and they were talking about, in September, the market should get better, right? Like we should see more activity. Maybe I'll get my price in September. And I was kind of like, well, you probably will see more activity. There probably will be more buyer activity, but the giant question mark is how much more seller activity is there going to be? Because if the seller activity far outpaces the buyer activity, well, it's actually going to be more difficult to sell. The prices might drop even faster in the fall, and you might take a much lower price then than you would right now in August, right? That's yet to be seen. But again, 600 units listed in the first 2 days of September. Let's see what happens by the end of the month, but so far, not looking great if you're a seller. Now, every morning I like to scan the market, see what's come on the market, see what's happening I like to check sales, see what's sold and stuff like that. And I came across this 2-bed, 3-bath in West Abbotsford, right by High Street Village. And this is not my listing. I'm not marketing this listing, but these were selling for like $900,000 in February 2022. And, at $635,000, like most couples, families, whatever it is, they have the income to be able to easily afford something like this, right? And the thing with the market right now, like if you're a buyer, like when the market is going up really fast, people will overshoot, right? So like if a home is priced at 1.2, they'll pay 1.35 just so they don't have to be in multiple offers. And they're willing to pay that because they know the market's going up and likely the price is going to catch up to that in the next 6 months or whatever it is. On the downside, people will overshoot the downside as well, knowing that the price is going to be lower in the next 3 months. They might sell a unit for $545 instead of $570. And basically what I'm getting at is like what you can do right now in the market is you can buy a home and you can price in the next 6 months of losses in your offer, in your price. And those are getting accepted. Like I have a client, they actually follow this YouTube channel. They bought a 2-bed in Abbotsford for $488 in May. 2022 build, had AC, 2-bed, 2-bath. It's like 900 square feet. It backed onto a creek, one of the best buildings in Abbotsford. Today, now in September, you still can't get that deal. Comparable units are over 500,000, right? So when they bought that unit, they got in front of where the market was going. They priced in the next, 6 months worth of potential losses. Now, I'm not saying that the price can't go lower than that, but all I'm saying is that right now in the market, you can catch a seller that's trying to overshoot where the market is going, and you can protect the downside. Any further downside, you can take a calculated risk and just say, hey, listen, prices might drop for the next 8 months, the next 6 months, whatever you think. And if I just buy a property pricing in those losses, then, I'm not too exposed to the downside. And I look at something like this that was easily $200,000 more, $250,000 more, where the bulk of the buyer pool can afford to purchase it. It seems like a pretty safe buy to me. I don't know where the bottom is on this, but it looks pretty good to me. I mean, you're right beside High Street Mall. You're right off the highway. I'd say it's a pretty attractive purchase for anybody who's looking to upgrade their living situation from a condo or potentially stop renting or whatever the case may be. Back to the prices and my favorite chart to look at. You can already see what's happening. Look at the line, how it's dipping way below those 2022, 2023 lows. We're looking at Surrey Central condos. The low was $455,000 December 2022, $425,000 now. This is crazy. There was a sale, back to my last point about the pricing in 6 months of losses. There was a sale in King George Hub. Don't remember exactly when it was. It was in spring. A 2-bed sold for $550. And it took until now, August, before I saw another sale for a similar unit in that building at $550. Everything else was high five, like $580, $600, blah, 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 around that range. It took 6 months until that sale, until another sale came up at $550. Now, it looks like that purchaser is actually going to be in the red going forward. But again, they heavily limited their downside risk on purchasing that unit in the spring at today's price. But it looks like if we're looking at Surrey Central condos, it looks like we may very well see peak 2018 prices in this market. I mean, when you have those 2-bed, 2-bath concrete units in like the best location, Surrey Central, going for $550 now, those are $850,000 pre-sale units. And you're getting those basically, I don't even know what that is, like 40% below replacement cost in Surrey Central right now. But yeah, I don't know exactly where the bottom is on this. It's obviously not looking too hot right now. But if you are a first-time home buyer, this is the cheapest. I would say by far now, this is the cheapest real estate you can buy as a first-time home buyer. I mean, there's like quality, like brand new 1-bedroom with functional livable layouts and AC and everything under $430,000 now, $420,000. They might go to $400,000, but again, write your offers pricing that in today. These units were $600,000 on the pre-sale market, $620,000, and now you could probably get them close to 400K. So there's your update. I don't see any reason why these price declines don't continue into the future, at least on the HPI. That's not for every single product in the market. That may not be for your home, depending on the purchase price that you purchased it at. But on aggregate, on the HPI, I don't see any reason why these prices aren't going to decline further, especially with a whole bunch of listings that were taken off in the summer, now coming back on the market. Some of those are probably going to be at the price they need to be at to get them sold. And if that's the case, then it's going to drop the price for everybody else. But if you want to chat with me about buying or selling in the Fraser Valley, there's a link down in the description. Otherwise, I just appreciate you for watching my content. I'm that Agent Kelly. I'm making moves to move you. Peace.